Hello and welcome. I'm SAG-AFTRA member and LA delegate Tiffany Yvonne Cox, and I serve on the Hair and Makeup Equity Work Group, which helps the union address unfairness surrounding hair and makeup on set. Thank you all for joining us for this SAG-AFTRA live stream on YouTube. Now, to stay up to date with all of our live stream and video events, we invite you to subscribe to this channel. You can go ahead and do that right now. We have two American Sign Language interpreters with us today, Mara Bassani Santamaria and Lindsay Gibbons. Mara and Lindsay will be switching off periodically throughout today's discussion. And as a reminder, today's program is being recorded, and you can watch the replay right here on SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel, along with tons of other great and informative content. Today, we present the PTEOE President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live stream, Commercials 101 Hair and Makeup. This is our second in a series of presentations that break down the updated provisions of the newly ratified, groundbreaking 2022 SAG-AFTRA Commercials Contracts. If you didn't catch it, you can watch last week's presentation, Commercials 101 Auditions and Casting, right here on our YouTube channel. Your union has been hard at work educating agents, casting directors, and the membership about the changes to the new collective bargaining agreements covering commercials. And of course, while these PTEOE presentations are for us, the members of SAG-AFTRA, I'm sending a shout out to any agents, casting directors, and commercial producers joining us today. Hello, and thank you for watching. We also know many of you have asked where to find the official MOAs or Memorandums of Agreement. These are available on our website, SAG-AFTRA.org, in the Production Center under Commercials. Click on Agreement to access PDF files of the complete documents. This week, we're covering the new provisions that provide protections for our members' hair and skin. These changes were brought about by us, SAG-AFTRA members who wanted to see change and equity in the way performers are treated while preparing to appear on camera. And as a personal PSA, if you members see something that you want support from with our union, speak up, get involved, roll up your sleeves, and don't give up on your pursuit. That's what I did. And when I began participating in membership leadership in 2019, by being Chicken Little, receiving guidance from our staff, and support from other member leaders and allies led to what we now have in our commercial collective bargaining agreement that protects performers of all hair textures and skin tone. Today's presenter is Jennifer Mathews, Senior Business Representative, Commercials and Corporate Educational and Non-Broadcast Contracts. After moving from Texas to Los Angeles, Jennifer began working in the stunt, safety, and music department, but soon transferred to commercials co-ed, where she has remained for over 17 years. In her current role, Jennifer provides contract interpretation and enforcement, signs signatories, and educates performers, producers, and casting about the commercials and co-ed contracts. She resides with 3 cats and will always make time to talk about her furry companions. Jennifer, it is a pleasure to have you here. I'm looking forward to hearing the details about these new rules in our contract. So please, take it away.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. And I believe they're taking their morning nap right now. So hopefully there won't be any furry tails sliding into the screen at any point. I think they're bringing up the presentation. Excellent. So yes, I am Jennifer Mathews, and I'm here to talk about the new commercials hair and makeup provisions. Next slide, please. First, we're going to talk about auditions, both in person and virtual. So next slide, please. So for in-person auditions, which are starting to happen again, we're coming out of this pandemic, performers shall not be asked to dye their hair, braid it, or unbraid their hair. So this means they can't ask you to take your braids out or dye your hair blonde for an audition. For virtual audition, which is self-taped or live remote, and I'm sure many of you have done so many of those over the last 2 years, performers now shall not be asked to engage in multiple hair and makeup styling changes for the same audition. So that means they can't ask you to do an updo in one scene and then a flat iron look in another scene. And for makeup, they can't ask for a dramatic evening smoky eye, but then they also want to see your natural day look. They can ask you for different pictures. If you have a portfolio with different styles of hair or different makeup shades that you prefer, they can ask for that, but they cannot ask you to do the changes in the audition. Next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about qualified hair and makeup professionals. Next slide. So this new language states that a producer will only utilize qualified hairstylists and makeup artists and provide the appropriate products for cutting and styling a performer's hair and applying their makeup. But what does qualified mean? Got an answer for you on the next slide. Qualified means a hairstylist or makeup artist who has proven ability and experience styling a variety of textures and styles. For example, tight curls, curly hair, wavy, straight, tapered, braids, locks, twists, fades, locked hairstyles, and anything else you can imagine doing to your hair. And for makeup artists, they have to have experience working with diverse skin pigments and features. It also means that they need to have the tools and equipment. So that means curling iron versus a hot comb, foundation that matches every skin tone out there. They should be able to work with all textures of hair from types 1A to 4C. And those numbers and letters are just kind of a general way to characterize and classify hair. Gray hair, which has different needs, and all skin types, because as we mature, our skin changes as well. So someone in their 60s may need different skin care needs than somebody who's in their 20s. So I myself have experienced this and what a difference it can make. In February of this year, after being a giant frisball my whole life, I specifically sought out a stylist who had experience working with wavy and curly hair. I learned at the age of 46 that I have 3 curl patterns. The products I was using was not appropriate for my hair type, and the way I was styling my hair was damaging. So this is information and experience we want every hairstylist and makeup artist to achieve. We want our members to look and feel their best on set so they can give the best performance they're able to, which is what you're hired to do. You may have heard of the Crown Act. That stands for Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair. This is a law that prohibits race-based discrimination, which is the denial of employment and educational opportunities because of hair texture or protective hairstyles, including, as we mentioned previously, braids, locks, twists, or bantu knots. This law has passed in 16 states, but that means we have 34 more to go. In March, SAG-AFTRA supported and congratulated the U.S. House of Representatives who passed this law. The law was reintroduced into the Senate, but it's not yet been passed there. Next slide, please. So all of this is to say that this has been an ongoing conversation regarding hair and makeup qualifications with SAG-AFTRA, our sister unions, Congress, and other industry partners. We're very, very proud that Commercials is the first contract to achieve this new language, and it's the first stepping stone to equality and inclusion for all performers. Next slide, please. If there is a concern about hair and makeup artists on set, please call us at the union. We're gathering information from our performers and our signatories, which are companies signed to the commercial agreement, in order to establish precedent and educate production on the importance of these provisions. Currently, the remedy for not following these provisions is to make a phone call. Hopefully, though, what we hope in these next 3 years as we ramp up to the 2025 commercials negotiations is we will have experience, we will have examples, and we will have information that we could potentially then negotiate for a dollar amount if these provisions are followed. Of course, we'd rather the provisions be followed. And this is why we need our performers on set to let us know what's going on. You guys are on the front lines of this every day, so we need to know what your experiences are. And you can reach us at the number there on the slide at 855-SAG-AFTRA. Oh, I missed the last part of it. Or 855-724-2387. Next slide. And that's it. It's pretty simple. You can reach the commercials department at com.coedinfo@sagaftra.org. You can call the Los Angeles local directly at 323-549-6858, or you can find your local's number on our website at SAG-AFTRA.org. So thank you for letting me speak, and I'm going to pass it over to Tiffany. I think we've got some questions.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for all of that information. And I also have to just give a huge thank you to so many people upon our staff, of course, the hair and makeup equity group. And there's just so many other people behind the scenes that it takes time for change to happen. So I'm sure people will have a lot of questions, and I have some of the member questions here, but I want people who are watching this to remember that this is the start, though it's not the end. And because of people who brought their voices forward, I have a packet of members who we have kept confidential, who shared their stories with me just with my grassroots efforts. I was able to then share that with our staff, who then was able to negotiate these things because they had examples. And now I'm hearing the next step beyond that is that we can call SAG-AFTRA, they can report this. And for all we can see in 2025, there will be financial compensation, possibly, potentially, if we're able to negotiate that in the future. So just a huge thank you and a little insight into how change can happen. It's incremental, but change is happening. So let's go straight to some of these questions that people sent in beforehand, okay? So Jennifer, are we allowed to refuse the services of the hairstylist or makeup artist if we're not comfortable?
Absolutely. Yes, if you are not comfortable, of course not. We would never want you to do something that you are uncomfortable with or that you feel may be damaging to your skin or hair. So yes, you're absolutely able to say no.
Okay, excellent. And so members who are watching and listening or watching the replay, please be empowered to refuse it and make sure you call and report this. And for our reps who are here, and I can say for my own reps, they've also noted, make sure they are called too, so that they can be the person who has to deal with that. Because when you're on set and you're trying to get into character, the last thing you want to do is have that funky feeling in your gut that you're being a problem actor, or for anybody to make you feel that way. So you can bring in your reps into the conversation, and our union is also saying, because of this contract, call us so we can also be a part of the solution. So another question, Jennifer, can we be compensated if we have to do our own hair or makeup?
That is another yes. So if a performer is required to provide styling and or makeup services for themselves, a claim can be made to be reimbursed for costs associated with that.
And how do we make that claim?
You can go to our website at sagaftra.org. There should be a button up there, I believe, for contracts and industry resources. And then in one of the columns is filing a claim. Commercials, you can actually file the claim from a portal on our website. So you can submit everything you need, upload your documents, and it goes directly to an inbox.
Gotcha. And I'm just getting all the transparency here so people have it. When you say documents, does that mean a receipt?
First, for the claim, what we would need is maybe a paycheck stub, just so we can understand who we're going to talk to about this.
Okay.
And then we would talk to the performer about what happened and get all the information and the specific circumstances. And at that point, if we need any receipts or anything, we can request those from you.
Gotcha. So that's important, members, though. So when we receive the pay stub, that will be one of the things that will help them know who to go to. But also, I would say do your due diligence. If you have receipts for going to the barber, ask for that receipt, because sometimes you don't get a receipt from a barber. We know this. Or if you are going to get your hair done, you're getting braids put in, make sure you have a receipt. They can do that. So at least as this claim goes forward, you are protecting yourself, and SAG-AFTRA is going to help you with that claim. Another question, again, for transparency, I've never done a claim before. How long can it take?
Sure. So each claim is different. There actually is no generic time frame that we have. It could be an immediate, we give a phone call, they're like, yes, we did wrong, we will fix this. It could be several months, it could drag out, it could go to our legal department. Unfortunately, there's no pat template for how claims happen.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I will add this just from my own personal experience. There's a difference between the day player, maybe a co-star who comes in for a day, maybe a guest star who comes in for a day, or maybe somebody who's recurring. But if you did have to come in and have your nails a certain way, maybe you had to go get your braids redone, go ahead and have that conversation with hair and makeup as well. Ask them. You can be bold and ask them and say, hey, I did this to be prepared for the show. Can I receive any compensation? And then if they say no, I would say continue on. And that's where we have the support of SAG-AFTRA here again, which we didn't have that in our contracts before, right? So this is where you're like, but I know I had to get my braids redone, which cost $300. I'm going to go to SAG-AFTRA and they're going to help to support you through that and look into it. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. And so another question. During an audition, do we need to be notified ahead of time if the job will require dyeing or restyling of our hair? I'm going to say that just one more time, okay? During an audition, I'm talking about an audition. During an audition, do we need to be notified ahead of time if the job will require dyeing or restyling of our hair?
And the answer is absolutely. Any special requirement should be listed on the breakdown or as soon as casting is made aware, but no later than the time that you are engaged or booked on the job. They have to tell you beforehand whether, if they want you to go blonde for a job. But yes, they need to know as soon as possible, and you need to know before you book the job.
Okay, great. And is this one of those instances, say if that didn't happen, call SAG-AFTRA so it can be reported and we can have this listed?
Yep,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is that thing, guys, because it started, I was one of the people that were part of the movement of it, but it helps when we have other voices who share their experience. So if you make sure and call SAG-AFTRA, we have these receipts. And so that when we come to negotiations again, we can ask for more, to be more specific, okay? That's great, thank you. Another question, Jennifer. Do we have any recourse if something is done to us on set that causes damage or injury to our hair or skin?
Yes, so this happening to even one of our members is unacceptable. And unfortunately, we know that it's much higher than one person. This has happened too many times. You should notify your agent and you should call the union. We will reach out to the signatory company. And again, that's the company that's signed to the commercials contract to address the matter and get a resolution.
Okay, yeah, so important. Okay, thank you. And I have one last question, unless some others happen to come up, or if you have anything you want else to address, Jennifer. How or where should talent and reps register complaints when they run into hair and makeup issues?
So once again, we're telling you, call the union. Please call us, provide the signatory company, that's the company that's signed to our commercials agreement. It's usually an advertiser or advertising agency. If you have the product or service name and the commercial title, if it's available. So the more information, the better, basically. We will notify the signatory of the issue and ask that hair and makeup artists be vetted better. Every stylist I know has an Instagram page or a portfolio showing what they can do, their proven work. And that's what needs to be looked at now to show that these makeup artists and hairstylists can handle anything that's put in front of them.
That's fantastic, Jennifer. And when we call that hotline, because it'll take you many different places, when they say, hi, where would you like us to direct your call? Who do we say?
So this would be for commercials only. We're the only contract currently that has this language. The goal, though, is to get it in every contract that we have. But yes, for this specifically, we call commercials. We've got, there's a commercial person in every local out there. So you can find your local number, call them, or call Los Angeles or New York, and we'll get you to where you need to go.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So when you call that 1-800 number for SAG-AFTRA, you're going to say, please put me to commercials, and then you can explain your situation, and they can make sure that you get to the right person, the right place, or the right document to report it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. You guys, those who are watching, I hope you realize how innovative this is. We did not have this before. We talked about this together as actors, and then we began to make other people aware that this was an issue. And obviously folks realized, hey, we need to do something about it. So I'm just so thankful for our staff. I'm so thankful for the union, and I'm so thankful for the members who gave so many examples of what is it that we need. And we have started the process of change. It's really excellent. So thank you, Jennifer, for walking us through the updates to the auditions and casting provisions of the commercial contracts, and for answering the member questions. As a reminder to everyone watching, this presentation is available as a replay on our YouTube channel, and you can watch them at any time. Now, if you have specific questions, personal questions happen to you about the contract, please email comm, that's COMM, coed, COED, info, INFO. I'll say that all again. com.coedinfo@sagaftra.org. On behalf of the team here at SAG-AFTRA, we would like to thank everyone watching for joining us. Special thanks to our regular viewers who have been tuning in each week for our PTEOE President's Task Force on Education, Outreach, and Engagement live streams. If you have ideas for topics you would like to see us cover, please email us at pteoe@sagaftra.org. And if you haven't already, while you're here, please subscribe to SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel to get updates on the great content we are posting. Thank you, and have a great day.